I think calling something a bop diminishes it to a point. Because it's like, oh, that's a bop, and then you're done with it. It's like, oh, that was fun to listen to, and then move on. That's the problem here. It's like, oh, that was fun to listen to,
If a
move on.
song's that good, your reaction shouldn't be "That's a bop. What's next?" It should
Yes,
be "This song
exactly.
is it."
It should be, I'm playing this again and again and again.
He's from Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania, and wanted to be a rock star since age 5. He makes pop music for good. He makes music to heal the collective mainstream and to bring awareness of how music can positively affect people. Chad Lewine, how are you doing today?
Hello, Chad Lewine. Just say it,
Wine.
just
Sorry.
FYI.
Sorry.
I know that's gonna be a thing that just people are not gonna know how to say my name, and it's like the first time you see an artist where everyone says it differently. That's just how it's gonna be, and that's gonna be great.
Yeah. It gets taco, and I'll give you that much.
Yes. What's your name?
So I go by Heroek just
Okay.
because at the moment I don't have my name out there now, but thinking
I'll
of
call you.
changing that for the future. But yeah.
Hello, Heroek. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. So first question, just to sort of get things started, get into it. What was your first experience with music like, or what made you find your passion for music?
Oh man. First experience. First experience with listening, was just since birth. My mom played music, pop music, rock music, classic rock, 80s, 90s pop. But the first time where I really knew music was special and different and like moved me was probably Free Willy. My mom tells me this. I don't really recall exactly, but the movie Free Willy, the song Will You Be There by Michael Jackson, something about it, I guess, just like struck me. And that's been ever since that, which was age 5, I was like, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I guess is that sort of how you discovered that like music might have this subconscious effect on people and you that started interesting you and you got into that?
Yeah, I've never not consumed music knowing that it can change your brain and your mind and your mood.
Yeah.
It's not entertainment. It is, but at its root level, music is not just entertainment. It's a universe at work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a while back, like I was listening to a podcast and they talked about like the debate of like, does your mood affect the music or does music affect the mood? And to me, it was so obvious. It was like, that's not a debate. Music affects it. Like, I pinpoint moments in my mind. Like, if I'm listening to happy, upbeat songs, I'm jumping around. I'm happy, I'm upbeat. If I'm listening to sad, quiet songs, I'm sad or I'm in a more calm mood. And so
Or screamo.
it just seemed obvious to me. And yeah, so like I find it awesome that you're trying to actively showcase that in your career.
Yes, because no one does it.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
not lately. For like the past 20 or 30 years, like they've just forgotten about the sanctity and sacredness of music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like that alone is just such a cool mission, and you're doing it in music, which is again cool creative outlet. How does being so creative and living like an artist compared to more day-to-day like retail jobs that you've had in the past?
It's so funny because I'm facing this now. I face it all the time, but I lived in New York City for a while, so I was surrounded by other people like me, and I'm not right now. But I'm like really going through a huge transformation in life. I never had a real job, so that's one answer. I worked at Starbucks when I was a teenager, and I worked for an agency in New York City when I first got there, 9 to 5. But I was laid off, aka I didn't want them, they didn't want me. After 3 months, and then that was my only foray into like the system world, the corporate world.
Yeah.
So life is like very different. I do web design as my main income. That's what I've done my whole life. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that forever. I'm not one of these people who is like, okay with having a side hustle and like it being a side, like music being like, no,
Yeah.
this is my mission. I am going, that's always been the goal, is to make it my income, but that's not the main goal anymore, which it was like about me. And most musicians and artists come from like, I want to make an income off music, which is fine, totally fine, but I don't want to play guitar in the session. I don't want to be a studio musician.
Yeah.
I don't want to work in the music industry. I don't want to use my talents to make money. I want to use my talents to make change. So I live this life of complete freedom, but also complete and constant fear of not knowing where I'm getting paid next.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, maybe that's it right there. Like, get ready for a side hustle or something like that. But what tips or advice would you give to other musicians, other artists just like starting to release music and trying to build their career?
Well, decide what you want in your heart, because that's what I struggled with for so long. I listened to so many people in the industry, out of the industry, and tell me what I should do, what I could do, what I wanted, like what do I want to do. And I would always be like, I can make jingles, right? I could easily make a living off jingles, but I never wanted to pursue that because that's not writing from the heart. I feel so badly for people that end up turning their creative passion into a job.
Mhm.
Like I'm so grateful that I never went to school for music or art, because it would have just ripped the creativity out of me. I'm grateful that I never got a job in the music industry. Although I had a friend in the industry, have a friend, we're a little distant, but I have a friend in the industry who said I could be a really good A&R person. And I absolutely could be, because I'm a music aficionado. I can
Yeah.
do that. I can spot bands and artists that are coming up, and I can just do that. I would have made like 6 figures in my first year in New York City. Woohoo! That sounded really cool. But she was like, "You can't do your own music at the same time."
Oh
And I was
wow.
like,
That was like a stated like given I guess part of the job, like you had to give up the
I,
music.
th- I think it's insinuated, and it makes perfect sense, because it makes sense. Like, why,
Yeah.
I would want to put myself on, and that's just
Yeah.
not right.
Have you
So
heard of this great artist, Chad Lewine? I hear he's really good.
thank you. You A&R'd me already. I was getting close to like trying to do something in the music. I was like, I just want to be in the music industry, but the universe and my spirit guides and all of that, whatever you want to call it, God has looked out for me. And even though it's been tough as hell, I have never once sacrificed my creativity, my mission, my talent. And I could have easily in the
Hmm.
past, but I'm at this point, and I've been at this point for a couple years now, where I never will, and I'm glad that I didn't. So, but back to the main point of what would I suggest? Decide what you want, because if you want to work in the music industry, there's lots of ways to do it. If you want to be an artist, do nothing but be an artist. Don't listen to people telling you what the other options are, because you will fight with your heart forever until you just let go of the fact that you want to be an artist and just hone in on that and be unapologetically yourself.
Hmm.
And yes, you have to figure out income. You have to. So learn.
Yeah.
I mean, drive gig economy, Uber, Instacart, all that is actually a really good um, option that wasn't around when I was younger. I mean, I've built up my business enough now where I'm like pretty well off. Like I can live off it, and now I'm putting it back into the music. So like things are going really well. But it took me 15 years. Like I've been
Yeah.
doing this for almost 15 years. Yeah, so that's that answer.
Are you a music artist trying to find a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible? Then check out DistroKid. DistroKid is a super user-friendly and super easy-to-use service that will make your music available in stores like Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Snapchat, everything. Everything you could imagine, it's available. People will even be able to add your songs into their Instagram stories. DistroKid helps you with the distribution, monetization, and promotion of all of your music. Use the link in the description of this video for 7% off any DistroKid package you want. Pick from musician packages designed to help artists get their own music out there, or even get a label package where you can manage up to 100 artists from one profile. So that's more for like managers, labels, and you can also get the musician package that I mentioned earlier, which is more for artists, producers, things like that. And super easy, and you can get 7% off any package right now with the link in the description of this video. So once again, if you're looking for a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible, I'm talking any platform you can think of, get DistroKid and get 7% off right now with the link in the description. Back to the program.
You talked about like staying creative, trying to not get involved in the music industry in other ways. And when I was like reading up on you, trying to get ready for this, I heard about your experiences in like artist lofts. What was living there like, like being surrounded by creativity and just living in such a creative space?
I love that you're asking me that because no one's ever asked me that. That was a dream. So the first one, 2013 to 14, that was a loft called Loft 910. It was 910 Bedford Avenue at Myrtle and Bedford in Clinton Hill, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. It was on the third floor of a warehouse owned by a Hasidic Jew, completely illegal. The floors were made of drywall, like pieces of 2x4 pine. The rooms were split up, built by hand. Every room had a loft built. It was a professionally built place. But it was, you could do whatever you wanted anytime, any day and night. And it was 10 people, anywhere from 7 to 10 people in this one. Everyone had their own room. I paid probably like, I think I had the biggest room, which I always needed the biggest room. I'm the biggest person. Even though I probably didn't have the biggest paycheck, I got the biggest room. So I was paying like, at that time, 2013, I was paying like $910 for a room. That doesn't exist anymore. There's no illegal lofts left. But the creativity part, like, holy crap, that was I exploded in a positive way, being not just surrounded by them, definitely being surrounded by them, but also having a space. Like, we're talking like a 3,000 square foot space. And then the 1,000 of that is open for performance, for art, for whatever you want to use it for, parties. There were opportunities to perform. There were art galleries, there were plays. Every kind of art was happening in the place I lived. It was fantastic. Everyone there was an artist of some kind, for the most part. And if they weren't, they didn't really last. And we kind of made fun of them. It was fun. It was fine, but like,
they were the odd one out.
Yeah, they were the odd one out, which was awesome. And the neighborhood was just starting to come gentrify. The food that was around there, the bars that were around there, the nightlife that was around there was just so awesome. It was the highlight time, I would say, of my time in New York, that first one.
Yeah. And so you mentioned like having this like performance space. Did you perform music at all for them, or like have and so what was that like to sort of get, I guess, instant feedback from what are essentially roommates?
They are roommates, and yeah, you're right. So everyone still kind of worked. Nobody really worked from home. So I had the place to myself quite often, which was amazing. And I needed that. And we had a big PA system, and I could just blast music like a concert whenever I wanted. It was awesome. So that allowed me to be creative and dance, and like I could move around and sing and dance and like practice and write and do it all at the same time. I had my own studio, basically. And yeah, I mean, the feedback, I was the only musician, really. I was the only serious musician. There were some people that were dabbling, but I was the one doing it. So nobody really like understood how to give me feedback. They were like, okay, that's great, because we all just supported each other, and no one was like going for perfection. We're living. She used to call us dirtballs. The one the woman that ran it. She's an amazing woman, Lynn Lorin. She's a Swedish filmmaker, producer, director, actor, fantastic person that I put a huge influence in my life. I put on her a great influence on my life. But she cultivated an environment that allowed you to do whatever you want without negative feedback. I mean, there was critiquing, but it was just like, do whatever you want, be crazy, be an artist.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah. And so did that sort of, I guess, like you said, support you, encourage you to go forward and keep working on music? Or were there times where you felt like you were plateauing, or that maybe music wasn't like the thing for you?
I mean, not even this loft place, but like I never doubted music, which actually is something that I thought about lately. That may be the only constant in my life. I'm 33. Like that is the only thing. If I didn't have that, I might be dead. I might not have had anything to live for throughout some certain periods of my life. Yes. So I think that place confirmed that I was an artist, that even if I didn't have a label deal, even if I didn't sell out whatever I thought I wanted to achieve, and, whatever I thought I needed to achieve to call myself an artist.
Yeah, whatever you were told, like that you have to do this for an artist. This is what you do in the industry. This is what every artist does. It wasn't really, I guess you weren't really showing what's now popular as like an independent route. You were shown as like the get radio play, get an artist,
Yes.
get a manager, get booked.
Yes, that's all there was. I mean, this was 2013 when Spotify was just breaking in the US.
Yeah.
So yeah, that space solidified that I was an artist no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And like now a lot of people are finding a similar experience, like that they have a space to show off their music, show off their art, and get feedback from it on social media. But as I've learned, you have a very strong opinion on the social media, and especially TikTok, which you call TikToxic. Can you explain just like your feelings on that, and sort of like, I guess, the downsides to social media, or especially social media as an artist and everything like that?
The timing of this is perfect because the industry is starting to talk about how TikTok might be over. In terms of, or do you keep up on the industry?
I feel like I do, but I
More than the
also
regular
encounter
person.
people that, yeah, I do it more than a regular person, but I encounter people that are more up to date than I am.
So yes, you I guess so you went and saw my philosophy page, I suppose.
Yes.
I appreciate that so much because I just launched that site like a month ago. Like I rebranded
And
all of this.
like it all everything connected and made sense when I like introduced you and you were like, yeah, I'm a web designer at heart. And I was like, that's why his website looks so good.
Thank you. That was a deployment of a year of branding strategy and conceptualizing. Like this whole past year, I just I shifted everything up a notch, which is another question. But okay, so specifically TikTok. Okay, so I knew about TikTok when it was called Musically. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was walking around Brooklyn and I saw this thing called Musically and it was lip syncing and I was like, I don't need that. I'm a real artist. But it sounds fun. Literally in my head, I'm like, it sounds fun. I wish I could use it, but I'm not going to get any fun out of this. Then a couple of years later, they rebranded. I guess they got bought by the Chinese or whatever. They rebranded. And then here's TikTok. And I'm like, and then the music people are starting to use it. And I'm like, this is kind of gross. Like the initial stuff that was on TikTok was the extreme sarcastic humor, the self-hating, self-making fun of, you know what I'm talking about? You remember that?
I think so. Yeah.
That era of, it was really toxic. It was just, I couldn't even be on the app. I didn't want to be on the app. I wasn't on the app because it felt gross to be on it. And this is where it might get controversial, right? Because most people aren't going to actually understand what I'm talking about, but the people that understand will. So then proceed until like whenever TikTok created a bunch of hits, like then fast forward 5 years till now, till really
Yeah.
COVID is what blew
till you can
TikTok.
see massive artists that are topping the charts that got popular from TikTok.
From one dance, from one 10-second dance video. And that's where we get into the problem with the industry and how I hope that the bubble is bursting, because the labels were giving $1 million. So for anyone who doesn't understand how advances work, like you get $1 million in advance, but that's a loan, right? That's because, and you're supposed to use that money to create art. You're supposed to use that
here's
money.
$1 million, go make art, have fun. It's here's $1 million, you made art that did well, pay us back since you did so well.
Yes, it's so they're giving these kids the money, and that's a whole separate issue. Like the misuse of advances is just a whole separate issue on how that labels prey on artists. But anyway, I think that watered down. It has watered down the quality of music that's out there. I mean, rap music started out as a voice for the Black Americans. That started out that way and was necessary. Now rap music is crap. It's toxic. It's dangerous.
You're telling me the forefathers of hip hop didn't think Baby No Money would be a great artist?
Is that seriously another name of an artist?
Have you? It's the BBNO dollar sign who goes by Baby No Money. You probably I was gonna say you probably have seen him on TikTok, but you probably haven't.
I probably haven't, because my algorithm is mental health, dogs.
Okay, let me try giving you a different example. Olivia Rodrigo. Have you seen that? Yeah. So these artists that like got popular from social media, from TikTok. And so like when you were talking about that, it just reminded me of the artist Baby No Money, who's sort of in like the, again, I don't know if you know Young Gravy, in like a very like fun joke hip hop sort of way.
Yes, in a let's smear the sanctity of music, right? That's what makes me mad, because what's happened with social media, now we'll just talk about social in general. TikTok was just the monster that started it, but now it's wherever, it's everywhere. It's really just TikTok and Instagram, really. Music, this is the first time where kids mostly are like trying to do music to be cool, because it's so accessible to create a track and record now. Whereas when I first started, it was a little less. And then like 20 years before that, it was impossible. You had to have talent. You had to have connections. You had to work for it. You had to work.
You had to know how to play instruments.
You had to know. And now you buy a beat, you rap whatever you want over it, you do a silly dance, or you talk some shit. I don't know if I can curse, but you talk some crap.
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
Okay. And then you get famous or whatever. And then we forget that the music is a message, that then now we're looping it back into my thing where like this is where I'm going to piss people off, but bring it on. I never liked Jack Harlow just because I just don't like that music, but I just the other day went and tried to listen to some of his tracks, and I like got nauseous, because that's number one. He's number one right now, right?
Yeah.
All of it. I want that ass like a whatever, like that song, like I want that ass like what, like grass, like a blade of grass or something.
Yeah, like a blade of grass.
What the hell? It makes me
making a song about another artist like Dua Lipa.
Well, I don't even know. Yes, I guess
it's in the same album. He has a song just called Dua Lipa, and it's about like how when he was younger he wanted to like go out with
sexualizing her.
Yeah.
So there's two things there. There's an interesting sidebar in that using a popular name of anything is a way to get attention on Spotify. Could be a brand, could be anything, but then sexualizing the person, like that's disgusting. Like it's not a joke. And these people and the people all up and down.
Well, all up and down. Like I'm sure it's having so much in artists that like you don't see, but I guess starting last year, I'm a big fan of every year when the Grammy nominations come out, I listen through album of the year, and I like make my pick as if it matters. But I listen through and I like when I was looking through Lizzo's album, which is nominated, she has a song on there called Coldplay, who's also nominated for Album of the Year. And I'm like, there's no way you can win an Album of the Year when one of your songs is about another artist also up for the same award.
Yeah. And I mean, I want to touch on Lizzo real quick too. I saw Lizzo perform in 2013 at the Brooklyn Bazaar. She was hardcore rapping. I just love that I saw her go up, but I hate what she's become. I'm sorry, girl, but it's so sterile. I was just watching the HBO. She did her concerts on HBO, and I'm like, people. I love that it's like empowering, but it's too much. It's too much of the same, and it's also like you're saying like I'm that bad bitch, which is good, but there's a hint of ego. There's a lot of ego in it.
Every artist has to stand for something now,
and that's fine. It's just we aren't the subtleties of being a confident person and having your ego run your life. That's the problem. Like all of that music is ego music. So we're not really like, I didn't listen enough, but I watched the first like 10 minutes and I was just like, this is boring. I'm out. It's just like Harry Styles. Like boring. Like what the hell happened to alternativeness? Like there's nothing alternative about these people. They're talented, but they're boring to me. And I think it's because the industry just wants money. They're going lowest common denominator. That's number one. They're going lowest common denominator. So like we've lost the intelligence, right? In some of it, we've lost the depth, that because people don't want depth, right? People don't want to be deep. People want to escape. That's my whole anti-industry thing. Like I am here to shove your pain in your face and help you fix it. Yeah. So that the Lizzo thing, I'm disappointed in what happened and where Lizzo went, and that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Have you, like, you just said shove your pain in your face and help you fix it? That's exactly the kind of music I love that I'm looking for. So like I guess like 21 Pilots, HAR, if you know them, like probably 1 and 2 favorite bands I have. Like love their music because it's like, hey, I'm sad, you're probably sad too, but it's okay, here's how to fix it, rather than like, I got money, I got clothes.
Yes. And that's what I didn't realize, how much Lizzo was that. Because I loved her initial couple stuff. I really just listened to the buzz about her, and people were excited about her, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna try and get on this. And the more songs that I heard, the less I was really excited. But yes, 21 Pilots, I resisted them at first. They were a little too dark for me at first. But Scaled and Icy on heavy rotation.
I just went you know what, actually.
Oh, nice. You just saw their tour when they came around?
I saw them on the Icy tour and Takeover tour. Both incredible. Like loved. I love them because I love that they perform when they go on a concert. They're not like, I can't deal with concerts where whoever the artist or band is come out, they stand in a spot for an hour and a half and perform their songs and leave. It was a little like,
who?
I mean, I haven't seen anyone do that. I guess, you know what? I saw.
Let's talk some shit.
I did. I went to the stadium tour with Def Leppard and Motley Crue. That's, I think, different because they're playing instruments. That's skill. That's talent. 21 Pilots, they're moving around. They're everywhere. They're performing. I honestly don't think I've been in concert for someone just singing and just performing there. But I
know what you mean.
I've seen clips of like no instruments, just them singing or performing, and they just stand at the mic on a stand here performing.
I'm gonna catch some flack for this, but I don't care. This is my whole thing. Steve Lacy.
I guess so. Right? Yeah.
Well, how crazy is it that, did you hear about the thing where nobody knew the words except the chorus?
No, I didn't hear that.
So this is an example.
TikToxic.
Yeah. I mean, of he got big because of a TikTok trend. Sold out a tour. They only know one part of one song. First of all, how crushing is that to the artist? That's got to be deflating. That's got to be discouraging. And two, period. That like just that the art to the artist.
Because I think of it as levels. Like I can know of an artist. That's great. That's one level. I can listen to their music. That's the next. But once I'm spending money on them, investing in them, clothing, merch, seeing them in concert, I'm a fan. I know the songs. I want to connect with this artist rather than like going straight from I saw them on TikTok. I know one hit song, ticket bought. Let's go.
Yes, that I agree. That is, I don't do that either. And I think that's part of the whole, like the whole music industry has become commodified. I think that's the word where it's like just, it's not special. It's sterilized. It's like in every household. It's packaged very easily, and like people forget that music is sacred. It's not a pastime. It's not a. Do you have more specific questions? Because I can just keep going.
I mean, I'm loving this rant. I got that, and I have a couple more questions that we could either get into or we could say them and like for after the rant.
Let's say them because I'm gonna shift into the word bop. Okay.
Okay.
You already know where I'm gonna say.
Let's talk about being a bop.
So, and then I want to talk about Stan because, like, I'm just gonna real quick say this is the part where I'm trying to show people that words matter and that there's energy behind every word. Okay, Stan is about a guy who kills himself and his wife.
Yeah.
We do not need to normalize that word. Let's not pretend that we are that fanatic about a person because that's what that song is about.
Bad fanatic level.
Yeah. Let's just let's also keep it. Remember, like, fan is short for fanatic. We forgot that, right? We forgot that fan is short for fanatic. So your fan already means stan, right? You're already going crazy. Beatles. That's where it started. And it's interesting that I watched the Beatles documentary few years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were the first band to make people go crazy. They kind of were the first band to make fanatics.
And that's like in the same vein where you said like people have forgotten that fan stands for fanatic. I've seen that all over with like I've had, conversations where people try to explain the new lingo to someone and they're like, yeah, stan is like another level of fan. And I'm like, there's another level?
Another one.
or like when someone's like, yeah, I'm a mega fan. And I'm like, so you're a fanatic.
A super fan, right?
And so, just that got me thinking. And about like the Beatles documentary you were talking about, I like the fact that also they, even as like a giant band with these fanatics, they did something so homemade and real of just going on the roof of a building and playing instruments. They didn't sell tickets. They didn't promote it in any way. I guess they didn't have social media, but like they didn't even like promote it at all they just got up and started playing music and broadcasted it, and that was what they did. There was no giant hype build up for one event. It was just, let's just go out there and make music,
which is what's been forgotten. So that was the Stan, and then bop. So I get that's my latest like philosophical just like strike me. Strike. What did I write? Hold on, I have it right here because I have it written out.
Yeah.
1 second. Bop. Okay. The music industry and bop culture. So currently bop is esteemed, right? But by definition, bop is just like a disposable, catchy ditty with no substance. Right? That's what a bop is.
Yeah.
That's a bop. Like,
or it's an onomatopoeia for a bad comic.
Is it?
Bop.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, that like I just think of it like bop. Yeah.
I got you. Yes, I got you.
I'm like, you're just coming up with other words for hit.
Right, but it's
supposed to mean like it's like better than hit. It's newer.
Yes.
This is like bop and hit are two different things. No, they both are a song that does well commercially and culturally.
Mm-hmm. And so calling a hit a bop, I think, takes away from the respect. I think calling something a bop diminishes it to a point. Because it's like, oh, that's a bop, and then you're done with it. It's like, oh, that was fun to listen to, and then move on. That's the problem here. It's like, oh, that was fun to listen to.
If a
move on.
song's that good, your reaction shouldn't be "That's a bop. What's next?" It
Yeah,
should be
exactly.
"This song is it."
It should be I'm playing this again and again and again.
Yeah.
So yeah, yep, that was it. So
Yeah.
that the rant complete. But the next question, I'm sure, will be another rant.
It very well may be, because as the question that, I start talking a lot with artists about, what's your creative process like? What goes into a song, whether it's formulaic and you have steps to it, or something just starts to take shape and you see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. It's so fascinating that this whole year I've like worked on all these answers. I've been doing this for so long, but I never had it together. Like I never could vocalize it. And that is something that, that's what labels do. Labels create the product. I'm now doing that. So the only way I really write songs, and this ties back into, I feel bad for the people that do songwriting as a living where they have to go to work and write. And like, I just watched a video, somebody who produces Ed Sheeran and a bunch of other people was like, if you have writer's block, it means you don't know what you're writing about, and stop. So stop writing.
And yeah, and like, I mean, I'll let you finish and then go into my own rant on writing. But I'm, again, like, for what I look for in music, or music I'm a fan of, I want the artist to be writing it. I don't want to listen to Justin Bieber's love song about his wife and see that 10 people were credited as writers, because that starts to get weird when a stranger is talking about how much he loves your wife.
That is very true. I didn't think about that. That is very true. And that's so disconnected.
Yeah.
I actually just did have a thought about that. Like the vibe, how many vibes are going into this song? How many intentions are going into this song? And then it becomes diluted and all messed up. And those vibrations are what you're getting from it. So like the clarity is gone.
Yeah.
So I might touch on that in this, but yeah, so the only way I've really written a song in the last 2 or 3 years is when I'm having a deep emotional reaction to something, whether it's good or bad or questioning. I'll say, so for an example, a song that I write an entire arrangement a cappella. I get the verse down, I get the chorus, the verse, the bridge. I get one down, no instruments, just get it down, a rough cut. That's the song, right? But it's usually the chorus, but I'll just be like, oh, an example that I'm using is I need to learn how to like let love in my real life. In real life, like I have had a apparently super traumatic life. Since I've been in therapy all year, every week, and it's changed my life. I needed to do it, but I'm discovering that I have had a really fucked up life, and I don't know what love is like properly. So a song that I wrote recently was called "Let the Love In" or "Let Love" or whatever. And I'm like writing my notes about therapy, and I'm like, okay, this is a deep thing about me. I feel like I need to do something, and I just start saying it, and I'm like, oh, that's the subject of a song.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So like the subject of the song is I need to let love in. That's the chorus, and then it goes out from there. And I could explain that, but that's long and tedious to explain. But that's how I write. I write from the heart. It's like the thought comes in, the creativity comes up and meets the thought, and it comes out of my mouth. That's the easiest way I say it. And then it just goes from there. Then you produce the song. But that's how I know that, like my on my homepage on my site, every song I sing, every word I write, every lyric I write has to be completely aligned. It is completely aligned, or I'm not going to sing it. And that's why I think my music is so powerful, because it's not 10 people writing it. It's one person with one intention that is fully crystallized, fully realized from the ether, right? It's just like from God, from the universe. It's pure. And that's how I know that it resonates with other humans as well. It's not money bag, cars, right? It's like, oh shit, I have a really deep mental health issue. Half the planet can understand this.
Yeah, and the people that can will find this, and we can bond over the song together.
Yes.
And actually, like, I guess that I guess what's seen as like quote unquote sellout music, or like the repetitive hip hop of like, I got money, I got cars, all this. I think that
Drugs, sex.
I think that can just simply has the ability to relate and be appealing to more people. It's quantity over quality. Because when I listen to 21 Pilots, not everyone struggles with mental health, but I do. I know people who do. We can bond over that. And then when you look at another song, like I'm sure there's probably multiple Jack Harlow songs. I like if he's like, I got so much money, I can do whatever I want. He can. There are people in the world that can, and everyone that's left out that normally wouldn't be able to appeal to, they want that. So now instead of a few tens of millions relating, every single person on earth can relate to that.
Yes. Yep. And that's it. It's so easy. You're right. It's the lowest common denominator. That's how I explain it. It's like you can have hundreds of millions of people relate to deep stuff if you put it in front of them, but it's not getting in front of them anymore. And there was something about
rather than being in front of them, they have to have an idea of what they're looking for and seek it out.
Yes, all in off stream, alternative, not mainstream. It's like they're being forced
the entire genre of alternative is alternative, another option, secondary. It's not up there with rock, with hip hop, with all these things that are topping the charts all the time.
And I mean, I wrote a blog. I actually wrote a blog post about alternative high schools, actually. But I was like, the word alternative does not mean bad in music industry, but it means bad in education. Separate topic. But alternative music was top of the charts in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it was deep, and it was about important stuff. It was just angry on the surface. But like, I actually got into grunge, soft grunge this past year, like reconnected with that. Like I guess like Candlebox, Creed, if you want to call that grunge, Collective Soul specifically. So it's just, we have to force the hand of the mass media to put better stuff in front of people. That's my mission, and I want to lead that. And it can't do it alone. But
I feel like now, I think that's a great mission. I think that will work. But I wonder if rather than put good stuff in front of people, you have to put the right stuff in front of people where that music is right for them. There are people that want the hip hop and that, because like it's going to be an ongoing debate. You cannot get everyone to agree that 21 Pilots is better than this band. Right. But someone can definitely like it more than any other band. So that's where you have to, I guess, not have tiers,
not have be
hip hop rap here, top of the charts, alternative, like something else here, and then subgenres here. You have to know, hey, these are all the genres available to you. Which one do you like the most? Which songs or music do you like?
I like that. And before I lose it, I need to say, and I've caught myself doing this, I need to make sure I disclaim this. There is a place for all of this music we're talking about, all of the superficial stuff. There is a place for it. It's not inherently bad. It's that it's taken over. It's that it's perceived as real life or whatever. It's just
that when I look at Spotify's charts, it's all rap, TikTok, rap.
Yes. Right. 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 There's a place
Yeah.
for it. I'm telling everybody now, but it's too much.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, just a couple, like, I guess more specific questions for you for your music. If you had to like find a song that you think really shows off your mission or shows off your sound, or like had to be like, this is what my music sounds like, or my type of music, what song of yours would you show to someone?
Well, it's gonna be Dark Nights, which is coming out February 15th.
Okay.
Plug.
I in my head I was like, nice one. So what is Dark Nights? What is it? I mean,
Wait, I'll
feel
get to
free.
that. I'll get to that. I want to say
Okay.
for a song that's out there right now, I mean, I really think 35 sonically is like I brought in a real producer, Mark Evich from in LA, to fully realize my music, because I'm not an engineer. I kidded myself for so long that I was like good enough. I'm not. I knew I wasn't, but I didn't feel like I couldn't pay thousands of dollars per song. So I just
You're not a
did.
producer. I know how to use GarageBand.
Right, right. I did what I could with what I had, but it was never going to be good enough.
Mm.
When I knew that. So 35 and Boomerang are the only two songs that really are radio quality, honestly. So 35, I think, is the one to listen to. And I even wrote that about something. I wrote it up. Did you listen to that song? Do you know that song?
I haven't listened to it yet, but I saw that was like the
The number one.
latest release or something, or an album,
That
and I
song,
was planning on listening to it. Yeah.
it's about wanting to buy a house, but it's not one about wanting to buy a house. None of my stuff is superficial, although sometimes I will probably do some superficial stuff because, again, there's a place for that. But that song is about wanting the freedom to do whatever, to live however I want. But in today's economy and world, it's like very different. It's just not possible anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to 35. That's out. Dark Nights. The reason that this is a whole nother level is because 35 I put out, 35 I started work, 35 I wrote in October 2021.
Yeah.
I started producing it with Mark in January 2022. So that song itself is like 2 years old. Almost, in a way. The concept of that song is a year and a half
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Dark Nights, actually, I wrote in 2013 about a friend who was addicted to benzos, or I'm pretty sure benzos. I wrote it in 2013. I love the song. I put it away because I just continued to write new stuff and it got buried. And then I had my own addiction problems in the last couple of years and it kind of resurfaced itself. And that song, there's nothing superficial about it. It's 100% hitting mental health straight on. And especially with all the deaths that constantly happen in the music industry, I feel like it's a commentary. It's a commentary, and it's like screaming for help. Like I have the words in the bridge are like, nobody cares until we die. Nobody listens.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking listens till we die. That's the lyric.
Yeah. I mean, you can go ahead, but I already know that this song is probably going to be something I love and relate to, because I have found myself in that position where like now, like I've talked with someone about it when it was a little more recent, or when it happened. Right now, presently, I feel so bad and I'm so sad for Juice World and that situation. But I cannot lie and say that I listened to his music or was a fan before he died. And the reason I feel so bad is because his first posthumous album, Legends Never Die, that's the first thing I went through and I listened to. And it only hit me with the pretense of this person's now gone, he's now dead, that his lyrics were so dark and screaming for help.
Yes.
And it's the whole conversation when it came out, and he has a song where in the lyrics he says, like, what even is it's I keep taking the drugs, and then I said, I keep taking the drugs, and now the drugs take me. And at first, if that came out when he was alive, that's sick. That's a hit. I want that.
Glamorous.
That someone can do that. He dies. That comes out. That's tragic. Why didn't someone help him? Why couldn't he have a conversation?
Is that the conversation that happened? I didn't really hear anything about it. Did that conversation happen?
I think I guess it's not really a conversation. I have heard one person saying that that's the conversation I get into with people. He was at the level of artist where he's in a studio session. He has a producer, maybe he has writers, maybe he doesn't, but even if it's not writers, he has humans, other people there in the studio with him. Why could no one catch on, listen, and say, hey, what's going on? Hey, are you okay? Why did this have to happen first, then for everyone to look backwards and say, like, oh, look at this lyric. Oh, why didn't look at this moment caught on camera? And so I guess just that's my rant for the episode of like, pay attention to the lyrics of the songs you like, not the sound of the songs you like.
And it's not a game. It's not entertainment. That tying it back into a human being wrote this. They're not lying, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not necessarily lying about the cars either, but they're not lying about the bad stuff either.
Yeah.
And that has consistently made me so sick and frustrated because it's been happening a lot more lately. It's happened forever. It's happened, the 27 Club is a real thing. But it's not, those people, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, didn't sing about the pain nearly as much.
Yeah.
It wasn't as glamorized, right? The
Beatles weren't making songs about smoking in the studio every day.
Yes.
But they did.
Yes, exactly. We now glamorized this drug cult. It's drug culture, right? We glamorized it. SoundCloud rap thrives on drug culture. I watched the X documentary. Oh my God. And how the anger in that poor boy, the anger, the fans were just like, oh, that's really entertaining. I'm like, how? It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not an act. And he doesn't even know that he doesn't have any grounds on like what energy means, on mental health. Like there's no help. That movie really moved me and pushed me even further into this. Like someone's got to remind people that this is real life. Mm-hmm. This is real life.
Yeah. And I might ask you about like where to find that documentary because I haven't seen that, but I've seen
Hulu.
All right, yeah, because I watched the HBO documentary on Juice WRLD, and that's what that was after listening to some of the music, but that's what got me into just how bad the situation was with him, and how it seems or is portrayed in the documentary from what I remember, there were more times that he was affected by a substance than totally sober.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Lil Xan, I feel like he's next. When we name ourselves after a drug, what is wrong? That we allow that there's no parental figure.
I was just
the managers give them the drugs.
I think I was listening to a podcast about this. It was the same conversation. They said manifestation, words really have meaning. The point that was brought up, it got slightly religious, but it said, we are made in God's image. God is seemingly this super powerful being that can create whatever he wants. Now we're made in that image and we can say whatever we want. So why not say the good things? And they brought up examples early on hip hop when it was very power to the people, gang violence. They brought up Biggie. How many times did he talk about gang violence, dying? This Tupac. How many times?
Changes.
Same situation. All these albums, Ready to Die. All these.
Yeah, Ready to Die.
About I'm ready to go. Let's talk about violence. Let's talk about this bad thing, that bad thing. It's like, and then what happened to those people? Look at those and just think about, consider maybe what I'm saying can truly affect what happens to me.
Yep. That was one of my platforms for a while. Law of attraction, manifestation. That's too airy-fairy for the mainstream. There's no way people are gonna like respond to that. So this is a culmination. This brand Pop for Good and the whole image is a culmination of many years of trying to figure out how to bring spirituality in, because that's what's missing. The spirituality, the sanctity, the sacredness has left, and religion. I'm even pulling on. I wrote an article about Christian music and how you can only get that in Christian music. Why is that you can only get that spirituality, whatever you want to call it, positiveness in Christian music?
Yeah.
I want to bring that to mainstream.
Why can
secular.
you listen to a rap song and be like, yeah, this sounds sick? Listen to a pop song and be like, this sounds cool. And then listen to religious music and be like, that's a great message. This sounds so spiritual or religious. Just all music is like that. You just have to listen for it. And so, yeah, I wanted to make sure I got it right. So I looked up here the lyrics to the Juice WRLD thing I was talking about. And like from this posthumous album, and which I obviously had to be recorded when there was still the chance, hopefully, to help him. But like the section I was talking about is, sometimes I don't know how to feel. Let's be for real. If it wasn't for the pills, I wouldn't be here. But if I keep taking these pills, I won't be here. Yeah, I just told y'all my secret. It's tearing me to pieces. I really think I need them. I stopped taking the drugs, and now the drugs take me. How did no one stop in the session and be like, whoa, dude, what's going on? Are you okay?
Wow.
Because that's like, there's one thing of like, that's cool, that's a bar. That's something where it's like, that's awesome, that's a bar. Are you okay?
Yes, that exactly. And I think people are afraid of mental health, first of all, in general. If you haven't broken through the taboo-ness of it, you are afraid of it. You're afraid you're going to insult the artist. Money. Unfortunately, a lot of it's money. If they help this artist, they won't be generating as much money. That's a really screwed up truth. But yeah, I didn't know that lyric.
If you're in therapy for an hour, that's an hour less you're making a hit.
Yes, and if you're not this wild and crazy thing that the fans think is an act, but the industry knows it's real but don't care. That's the sickening part. Well, now, there are people in the industry that do care, and I want to meet them, but they're not the loudest ones.
They're not the majority.
Right.
Yeah. And so like I guess the last rant or point that I have here is also like, I think the best, I want to be careful with my words here. I think the best and most impactful music artist documentary that I've ever seen is on, I think it's on Apple, Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry, because that's an artist who is a hit artist, top of the industry, but also is not like a character. She's calm. She is open about mental health. She, in this documentary, like shows that she like needs to take time separate from everything, just on her own, think about things, and doesn't have to be go, go, go. And that was awesome for me. And that's like that, when I was talking about earlier, like my levels of fandom, that's what brought me from I listen to the music, I know a couple of songs, to I'm a fan of them.
I'll have to watch it. I can't get into her music. I just can't. But I think now, hearing that, I think that she's doing something good. If it's not resonating with me, it's okay. But apparently she is doing something good. So I'm also bitter that she got started at like 14. But that's a grass is always greener, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pissed off that I'm this age and I'm just about to start.
I mean, I had a conversation with someone like once I found out about Billie Eilish and became a fan, I was like, let's watch this documentary, please. I think you would like her and her music. And she was like, I can't, because not because it's not for me, not because I don't like it, because I'm jealous of it, because that's where I wish I was.
It's real, man. I haven't watched a couple things because of that, but I'm learning to break through that also because I'm getting closer to my breakthrough. And if I didn't spend all this time, I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't have gone through 15 years of life. I wouldn't have this platform. I would be dead if I got what I wanted, because I was on the way to getting a label deal when I was like 2021 with a song called Life is a Ride in 2011. I could have pushed that a lot farther if I wanted to, but I would have been 27 Club for sure, or just become a total
You would
dick.
have gone from pop for good to pop for pop.
Yep.
Like, it's a pop song. You have writers. Lyrics don't mean that much.
Industry would have swallowed me up, and I wouldn't have known what to do because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know as nearly as much as I know about how the world works. I would have just been exactly what they wanted. But I'm glad that and 30 is the new 20 in a way. It really is. But yeah, and I guess I'm gonna give you a documentary to watch. Well, it's not a documentary, but it's the Baz Luhrmann Elvis biopic.
Okay.
I did not know how spiritual Elvis was. I did not know how much Elvis cared about things outside of the music. He was an activist. Did you know that?
I did not know. So that's why you're getting me hooked. That's why I'm interested, because I did not know that.
The one thing, and this is a good wrap-up quote that I've adopted, is, which is exactly what I'm doing, is that when things are too dangerous to say, sing.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah. I like that.
That's what I'm doing. This stuff can't get across in words. It has to be infiltrated. It has to be disguised in pop music bops. That's how this is gonna get through.
Yeah, and I like, just thinking about that quote now, I'm thinking of artists of songs that could apply to, where it's like talking about mental health. If they went up to someone and talked about it, the stigma kicks in, like, whoa, that's deep, that's heavy, like, see a therapist. They put it into a song, it's a hit, they start getting views, they start getting followers, they can go on tour and have a platform to basically. I've listened to a conversation with 21 Pilots, and Tyler Joseph was saying like this: take those bad things and don't point it at yourself, put it into art or music or something else that you're going at with such passion and can be something good, rather than turn into something really bad.
Yes. Like Choker is a great example.
Yeah.
Of that. That there's like 2 or 3 songs in the beginning of that album that are perfect examples of that.
Redecorate.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That album, I mean, and I'm listening to a little bit of their previous album, but that album is one of my favorite albums ever. I didn't think I was gonna like them, but they softened up just enough for me.
Yeah. And I will say, yeah, Trench definitely takes it a bit hard, but like, trust me, try to get into it, because that's the out. Like, Blurry Face came out because that's when they got super popular, hit the top of the charts. That's when I found out about them, listened to their music. Trench was the first release cycle where I was a fan and I could be up to date the whole time. And when I listened through it and watched the music videos, that was the album that told me music can tell a story and have a meaning. Trench is like their big lore side of music, because they have like a whole story and a whole lore, and Trench really opens it up and is what got me into it. And so I'm hoping that can do the same for you.
Oh, cool. Is that I love the idea of lore, because I'm just starting to develop my own, I think.
Yeah.
Is Hype on that one?
Yeah, the Hype is on there.
That song came to me through Spotify recently, and I was like, huh, okay, I get it. I like it. So I'm aligning with them.
So if you and I mean, I'll tell this to you, and I'll tell this to anyone. I really believe if you listen through the album, don't pick the hits or listen to your favorite
No.
songs. Listen through the album, watch the music videos. It is undeniable and clear to anyone that there's a story there. And I'm not talking about life experience. I'm talking about fictional, symbolical story that has meaning.
Thank
and
you.
so that's part of what made them like my favorite band, because I was like, oh my god.
And you don't get that anymore with the shit that's on the top.
Yeah,
you don't get that
the
depth.
album came out, I listened, because like now, like I the album came out, listened to all the songs, watched all the music videos, memorized all the songs. Normally that's about where it would end, and I'd start putting those on repeat, looking for the other one. With 21 Pilots, I got more. I got a story to dissect. I got theorizing with other fans, and it's so much fun and so awesome, and really like changed what I saw. Like it made me know that music can tell a bigger story.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
I forgot that most people don't have that, right? So like that's great that that it can happen. And I want to be that for people. I want to be that for people.
Yeah. And so I mean, I think that's a great spot to end it. Thank you so much for coming on. I think we both gave each other so much to watch, listen, and think about.
Yeah.
And yeah, anything you want to plug, Dark Nights, anything else you want to promote, shout it out now. Where can people find you?
ChadLewine.com. That I'm bringing the website back because social media in the industry right now, they're all talking about own your shit. You don't own anything on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So go to my website. Everything's there. ChadLewine.com. And I want to thank you, Heroek, for having me on. You are the first podcast I've ever been on.
Awesome. Yeah.
And because I'm going on a tear. Like I think the podcasts I think are going to push me to the next level because I have something to say, and I can't say it without a platform, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is a great.
Or you're saying it to the same people who have already heard you say it, and they're like, yeah, I know, that's why I like you. Whereas if you go on someone else's podcast, that's new people who you're getting your message to, and hopefully can go to you and your music.
Yes. So I'm grateful to you for that. And I had a great conversation, and I can't wait to share it and watch it again.
It was a fantastic conversation. So yeah, can't wait to let people hear this and get it out. And I can't wait to hear Dark Nights coming soon.
I'll send it to you. I'll send you a preview.
Thank you.